Why do we have two different words for wedding in Polish? Which months are the best for getting married? And why should the couple have a few bottles of vodka in the trunk of their car? Find out all about Polish weddings from this episode of In Plain Polish. Let's say you have relatives in Poland, or you aren't aware of having any yet, but you've decided to explore your Polish origins. Well, don't be surprised if one day or another you end up at a Polish wedding. And it will be a one-of-a-kind experience. You can trust me on this one, so don't hesitate, accept the invitation, and plan at least a couple of extra days for sightseeing. All right, invitation accepted? Great. Now, here's everything you should know about Polish weddings. The first thing that you need to know about the Polish wedding is that we actually have two words for it. Ślub, which is the wedding ceremony, and wesele, which is the wedding party. Now, why is this important? Well, it turns out that being invited to the ślub doesn't necessarily mean you're also invited to the wesele. So read your invitation carefully to avoid any unpleasant surprises, because we usually invite more people to the ślub than to the wesele. Now, before we move on, let's take a look at some basic Polish wedding vocabulary. In order for a wedding to take place, we need a bride and a groom. Panna młoda and pan młody. Panna młoda, the bride, pan młody, the groom. So what do? They get married. Biorą ślub. Biorą ślub. They get married. And later they become husband and wife. Mąż and żona. Mąż, husband, żona, wife. So when's the best time to get married? If you want your marriage to be happy, you should choose a month that contains the letter R in its name. So what are the options? Let's see. The months in Polish go like this. Styczeń, luty, marzec, kwiecień, maj, czerwiec, lipiec, sierpień, wrzesień, październik, listopad, grudzień. So now you know, if you're Polish and you want to live happily ever after, you need to get married in March, June, August, September, October, or December. They are supposed to bring you luck, but I guess you will need a lot of luck beforehand with finding a venue, because you will need to book it at least a year ahead. Alright, let's say all the planning's done and the wedding day has come. The groom puts on his nicest suit, he gets in the car and he goes to the bride's house. There the couple get their parents' blessing and they all go to church. Typically, the bride and the groom will enter the church together because it is not common for the bride's dad to lead his daughter to the altar. In Poland, still most couples get married at the church and the church takes care of all the paperwork for them, but some couples, especially in big cities, choose to have a civil ceremony instead. Now, the bride and the groom will need obrączki. This is one obrączka, two obrączki. Now, what you may find surprising is that we put our obrączki on our right hands. After the wedding ceremony, people usually form a line in order to congratulate the newlyweds, give them flowers and presents. Now, if you are invited to the wedding ceremony only, a nice bouquet of flowers or perhaps a bottle of wine will be fine. But if you are attending the wedding party as well, you are expected to bring a present. Now, what's the typical Polish wedding present? We usually get a greetings card and put it together with some money into an envelope. Later, it is time to go to the wedding party. And now, if this wedding takes place in the countryside, it is very probable that the married couple's car will get stopped on the way by friends and neighbors at the so-called bramki, wedding gates. Now, what are wedding gates? It is when the friends and the neighbors dress up and do some funny role-playing And in order to move on, the married couple has to hand out bottles of vodka and sweets and sometimes even complete some kind of a task. At the wedding venue, the couple is received by their parents with bread so that they never know hunger, and with salt, which is supposed to symbolize the stability of their relationship. The bride will be asked, chleb, sól czy pana młodego? So she needs to choose between bread, salt, and the groom. And the correct answer to this one is chleb, sól I pana młodego, żeby zarobił na niego. Bread, salt, and the groom so that he can earn the bread. After that, they get 2 shot glasses. One is filled with vodka and the other one is filled with water, but they don't know which one is which, of course, and they need to drink it up and then toss the glass. The one that gets the vodka shot is the dominant partner in the relationship, and the broken glass is supposed to bring them luck. After that, they all enter the venue, all the guests get a glass of champagne each, and it's time for the first toast. And we have a very special song for this one, which is suitable for birthdays, names days, weddings, or any kind of joyful celebrations, namely the famous 100 lat. The lyrics are very simple. They go like this. 100 lat. 100 lat, niech żyją nam. 100 years may they live. And this is repeated over and over again. If you would like to learn to sing the 100 lat, watch this video. Keep on watching, because at the end of this video, I will sing it for you. The Polish wesele entails a lot of eating and a lot of drinking. And when I say a lot, I really do mean a lot. There will be a hot soup, there will be a main dish, a dessert, another hot soup, another main dish. And apart from that, there will always be a lot of food on the table, appetizers, fruit, cakes, anything you want. So one thing's for sure, you will not leave the party with an empty stomach. Nor will you leave it sober, because drinking vodka is an inherent part of the Polish wesele. And now, at random moments, people will start chanting gorzko, gorzko, which means bitter, bitter, or gorzka wódka, trzeba ją osłodzić, which means that the vodka is bitter and it needs to be sweetened. And they will keep chanting this until the groom kisses the bride. Will this make the vodka any sweeter? I will leave this to your own judgment. You try it, you tell me. This chant has more verses, so sometimes it gets followed by other verses that are supposed to make the couple to kiss again. For example, by telling them that the guests refused to drink any more vodka because the previous kiss was too short. Apart from food and vodka, the Polish wedding also entails having a lot of fun and dancing until the break of dawn, and sooner or later, you'll hear it. You will. The disco polo music. Now, this is a very special kind of music created in the 1980s in Poland, and it is very simple. It has very simple lyrics, very simple melodies played on the keyboard. And the paradox about this music is that if you go and ask around, nobody likes it. Nobody. But then, somehow, mysteriously, everybody knows the lyrics, and it's played at most Polish weddings. At midnight, it's time for oczepiny. Traditionally, it used to symbolize the transition of the bride from a maiden to a married woman, and she'd have her hair cut and a cap put on her head, but nowadays, luckily, no damage is done to the bride's meticulous hairstyle, and instead the wedding guests get to play the most silly wedding games ever. It all starts with the bride tossing her veil, velon, and the groom tossing his tie, krawat. Nothing unusual here, right? Just wait for it. You never know what's going to follow, but one thing's for sure, the more insane and the more surprising, the better. So you may be asked to dance with an ant on a piece of newspaper that you will need to fold every now and then in order to make the whole thing more difficult, or perhaps dance with that same ant and to follow the DJ's instructions on how many of your limbs should be touching the ground. Or why not pop a balloon that she's holding with her hands without using your hands. So, for this part of the evening, you will either have to treat yourself less seriously or hide. Or you can also consider having a bit more vodka. When the oczepiny end, it's time for the wedding cake to roll in. It's time for the newlyweds to give a thank you present to their parents, which is a very touching part of the evening. But does the evening end here? No. The Polish wedding is usually an all-night long event, so it is not uncommon for it to end around 5 or 6 a.m. And if that wasn't enough, it sometimes even continues the second day. And this second day continuation of the party is called poprawiny, so it even has its own name. All right, now you know all about Polish weddings. If you have any questions, you can ask them in the comments below. And if you're attending a Polish wedding anytime soon, I hope you have a lot of fun. In case you need some help with doing some sightseeing before or after that, contact us and we will be glad to help. We are approaching the end of this video, but before I finish, I promise to teach you to sing 100 lat. So here it goes. 100 lat, 100 lat, niech żyją, żyją nam. 100 lat, 100 lat, niech żyją, żyją nam. Jeszcze raz, niech żyją, żyją nam. Niech żyją nam. Okay, now you're ready to go to the Polish wedding. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, write a comment, share it. Thank you for watching and see you next time.